I got somewhere in a box in my basement a Ozfest sampler of Primer 55, like 2 or 3 or 4, 5 songs. That would have been 2000 to 2003 area. Would you have been in the band at that point?
I joined in 2002, so yeah, I came in right after the second album.
It's like a comic book girl gut with a gun.
Yeah, that was the first album. That was Introduction to Mayhem. That came out in 2000. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to dig that up if so I can have you like autograph it for me in Nashville this summer. So.
Yeah, the Rock and Pot Expo coming up. What is that? August 26th.
Yeah. I'm gonna say that's correct. I know it's the end of August, the last weekend, so and I don't have a calendar in front of me, and apparently I didn't memorize it, but I'm really looking forward to it. You?
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. I mean, I grew up in Nashville. That's my hometown, so it's gonna be nice to A, go home, and then B, see everybody, get everybody in the same room together, kind of thing.
You'll have to take me around, give me a 2-hour tour of all the hot spots when we're there. Some must-see things.
It's funny, man. I've been gone so long that I don't. The new spots, the hip spots, are all gone. Like my, the clubs I played as a kid, are all gone, and it's like, all my friends back home always talk about the, Nashville being an it city, and all these condos are being built, and so all these like historical monuments are basically being torn down to put up high rises. It's like a Joni Mitchell song or something.
Well, then maybe you can take me on a tour and say, well, that didn't used to be there.
That used to be. I can show you where Johnny Cash used to live. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. It'll be our first face-to-face meeting, and it'll just further drive the bromance, and also I think some competitive hatred that, of course, we both have built up because of football.
Competitive hatred, yes. It's one of those things where your Vikings aren't in my Titans division and or conference, so it's I've always kind of had a soft spot for the Vikings, and you and I have talked about I'm a big Louisville Cardinal fan too. So when Teddy Bridgewater is my guy, and if he ever plays again, that'll be well, I guess we'll see. But yeah, man, you can't hate. The only time you can hate them is when you're playing them. You're not the Colts or the Jaguars or something.
Yeah, it's not like you're a Packer fan like Aaron Camaro.
Oh, Jesus.
Hey, speaking of him, you posted something that I jumped on and then, of course, took to my own page and shared, which is the ridiculousness of Local H winning that Metallica thing. But I don't know if you heard the latest. Local H was actually doing a contest for the fans to where they could like all enter and enter as many times as they wanted, and they would draw and somebody would win VIP access and backstage free tickets to any Local H show they wanted to. And it turns out Local H won that contest.
They won
so they'll be backstage at their own show.
Nice. Well, at least somebody will. What's great is not only did they do that, but they also put in for the Ernie Ball Battle of the Band stage at the Warped Tour, and they got it too. So summer tour plans for Local H is looking up, man. It's great, and they might be playing a high school Battle of the Bands here in Southern Indiana soon. So look out for that.
And just to clarify, despite the Battle of the Bands coming up there in Clarksville, you and I are on the same page as far as why we have an issue with this, right? It has absolutely nothing to how kick-ass or how much we hate the band, correct? It has nothing to do with our feelings personally about them. They just shouldn't have been eligible. And I think I saw Mark Striegel mention it, and I think he nailed it. This reeks of a Live Nation kind of thing. You know what I mean? Where it's just kind of set up and dealt with and...
See, I get it, and I get people saying that it's some sort of payola backdoor scheme, but I mean...
That might be a bit extreme, but they put them in the contest.
All bands, yeah. Yeah, I mean, getting them in the contest is one thing, and I kind of ranted about this on my last episode with Wednesday 13. Towards the end of my episode, I kind of went off on a rant, and, it's far-fetched to say that anyone would pay any amount of money or any kind of, like, rigged contest to get Local H on this bill.
Right. I don't think that's what happened. I do think they just had a bigger fan base, did push for it. They just shouldn't have been allowed to be in the contest.
Well, if you look at the numbers too, I mean, the band that they beat out, Mothership, and
God.
the band
that would have been the perfect one.
No, and in all honesty, man, I went through and listened to a lot of these other bands that were competing, and it's not like anything that was groundbreaking or jumped off the page and like, oh my God. I mean, Mothership sounded good, but I'm not necessarily sold like this should have been the band. But if you looked at the numbers, I think Local H won by like 22%, and then Mothership had like 21%.
Yeah.
But what you had on Local H's side of this whole thing was an established international fan base that, fans like Aaron Camaro went on and voted. They're like, oh shit, my favorite band, Local H, is in this contest. So right there, it tells you that they had no business being in this contest, because a band like Mothership, who I believe is out of Texas, is probably just going to have their Texas fans. I don't know how many people are actually out there.
I saw them here in Minnesota about just a summer ago, and they were opening for Wilson and Crowbot.
Oh, nice.
So they were the opening act. I mean, they're in the freaking van they don't have the Local H background, and I know Local H is not exactly maintain the level of success where they peaked, but God bless them for keeping it going. I love that. But this, I'm sorry, man, this shouldn't have been for you.
Yeah, this contest wasn't for a band that was on Spin's 1998 albums of the year.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
I don't know. And once again, it comes back around to, you can't argue this with a Local H fan, because that's their favorite band and they want their favorite band to open for Metallica. What I'm arguing is, I don't care if this was, Dishwalla, Better Than Ezra, the Toadies, which I would love to see the Toadies. I'd have been all over that. But, like a band like that had their spotlight. And, I to the death argued with a lot of people online, and it's not like, that's probably the worst thing you could have done was arguing with anybody about this. But
that's fun.
But the one thing, yeah, right. It's just none of those bands should have been in this contest. It should be for somewhat of a brand new band. I mean, hell, if Mothership's out there touring with Crowbots and Wilson, I mean, that's a pretty sweet tour right there. But they haven't broken through, and they're not doing the festivals, and they haven't had
them in a bar. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, I don't know. It's a whole lot of mess right there.
The Live Nation thing, I don't know that it was necessarily rigged. It's just more like, how did they even get involved? I mean, how did they get Bon Jovi's doing the same thing, by the way, and in every city they got one. And I saw some band and he was messaging Decibel Geek about this. I honestly don't recall them, because they didn't even have Local H fame, but they were older than Local H, or at least as old. And they had this open letter to Doc McGee or whoever's managing Bon Jovi right now. And it was just this pathetic, Bon Jovi meant the world to us when we were just up and comers. It's like, hey man, you know what? Go take care of your kids. Go hug your wife, do something. This is ridiculous. And I don't know, have you ever been involved in a battle of bands on a small level? They're all a fucking joke. This isn't really an opportunity to break anybody. It's never actually happened. But it is meant for a certain criteria, you know what I mean? Like if a local bar does the battle of the bands and Metallica enters, I mean,
right?
And then it's based on who can sell the most tickets. And that's kind of what this is. It really isn't any different. You know what I mean? It's just, of course, you have 400,000 followers on Facebook, and your closest competition has a tenth of that.
And that might have been the detriment of my musical career, but I didn't ever enter my bands into Battle of the Bands contests. And I wouldn't want to enter my band, in a open for Metallica contest. I would want, because I always wanted Metallica to want my band to open for them, not for us to win our way onto the bill. That sounds outrageous, and I probably would put myself into a Metallica contest. But that's my thing. I'm like, I don't want to go play in a battle of the bands. I don't want to win a contest. I don't want to be on American Idol. I don't want to be on The Voice. I want fans to come to my band and get into the band, not win a contest to win people over.
To me, it's no different than I agree with what you're saying. To that point, it's no different than being the world's biggest Slayer fan, but only going to the show if you win tickets by being the 21st caller.
Nice.
So whatever.
Well, I meant my last bit on this was, nothing's going to happen from this. Local H isn't going to, get a resurgence. Nothing's going to happen for them, more than, if anything, it's almost a negative towards them because of how much they're just getting destroyed online. It's not like people are going, oh shit, Local H, I forgot about those guys. You're getting that, but a band like Mothership would at least, oh my God, this is the band that, got to open 5 shows.
Yeah, maybe get a little bump.
Let's go check them out. Let's go listen to their album. Let's go ask them what it was like to open for Metallica. And so at the end of the day, Mothership may just end up being the band that got to open for Metallica one time. That could be their claim to fame. But I think they still had more to gain from a Local H getting this spot.
Yeah, I have to believe that Local H has probably had opportunities to get selfies with Lars Ulrich, don't you think?
Right. At least the singer. I think they're on. And what's funny is they're a 2-piece band, and I think they're on their 3rd drummer, so it's whatever.
Okay. Well, with that, let's get into today's topic. Thank you for joining Cobras and Fire.